Welcome back to Satisfactory Experimental 1.2. Yes, I do realize at this point that the final 1.2 is out, but this episode was recorded before that. I am behind in getting this episode out. The next episode will be 1.2 final. One calamity that occurred is that I lost an entire raw file of data of recording. It was several hours worth of me building the coal plant, and it's lost. It was accidentally deleted, and I could not recover it. I tried every option I could think of, and I'm no stranger to data recovery. It was immediately overwritten somehow and just unable to be recovered. We did finish a good chunk of the coal plant, and now we're going to be going back to finish the last of it. And you can see here that we do have a good power grid, but it is not the power grid that we should have. We should have at this point 1200 if I did everything correct, 1200 megawatts, and we're not there. I think I only had finished at this point 2 or 3 of the second set of 8. And here we're looking at what we can possibly research in the near future. We'll see how that goes. And there's no doubt we're going to need concrete in the future. I think most of the concrete is laid out for the coal plant, but it definitely is never going to hurt us to carry around a couple of stacks. If this seems like a lot of driving, be assured that I cut the vast majority of it out. This episode was over 2 hours long and cut down to 55, so you can see that a lot of the fluff and the non-useful footage was cut. We're going to rebuild the ramp up to the bridge there. It's just, it's too thin and too steep. Here's what all that concrete was for, making the rest of the bridge a much wider and safer thoroughfare. And I think at this point I realized that you can actually open the inventory / crafting bench from inside the vehicle. I don't know if that was possible before 1.2. I know I never realized it was possible. That makes it much easier to refuel your truck without having to get out in a potentially dangerous area. And here I believe I'm going back to pick up some coal. I was going to upgrade the or put a power shard in to double the coal output. That's what it was, to be able to get a 120 coal per minute using the Mark 1 miner, which is all we have at this point. And then I'm going to add the second half of the coal generator. The water extractors for the coal generators. And these will go to the second set of 4. And they're already set, because I copied them, they're already set for the right amount, which is 75%. Since you did miss the beginning of the coal generator construction, I do like to use 2 generators to 1 extractor is my preferred ratio. I know you can do 3 to 8, 3 extractors to 8, and it works out great. I don't like heavy dilute pipes. It's not difficult, it's just annoying. I just prefer to run 1 extractor to 2 generators, or you can easily put two extractors together in the same pipe, so 2 extractors to 4 generators, and that's what I've done here. I've run 2 pipes to the set of 8. Clock the extractors at 75%. It saves a little bit of power. Use 1 more extractor instead of the 3 to 8, but it does actually save power usage because of the underclocking. Underclocking is not linear, just like overclocking is not. And sometimes the pipe just won't go the way you want it to, and you have to manually construct it in the place where you want it instead of trying to get it to go automatically in the right direction. So I like the way that I ran the first pipe, and the trick is going to be getting the second pipe to look the same. You can see the abrupt weather change there. I believe I stepped away for a minute, just cut directly to that. The answer is going to be, I believe, putting another wall pipe support next to the first one and just nudging it outward, and it looks like it belongs there. It's that putting it above it's just not correct. Definitely to the side is what I was looking for. So you can see my thought process there, and it's still not quite, the pipe's not doing what I want it to, so I end up having to run it from the other direction. Just you get to see my thought process. It's not right. It doesn't look the same as the other one, and I can't put the pump there, so it's going to have to move and go the same way as the other. Also in the last episode, I did a bit of MAM research, unlocking some things, some Criterion items like Power Poles Mark II, which is very useful. Instead of having to spam Power Poles down when you need just one more connection, it's easier to just change it to a Mark II. They're very cheap for considering their convenience. The crazy thing is, running these pipes isn't that hard. What I find to be difficult is trying to match an already existing pipe setup and try to get a pipe to look the way I want it to look when there's already one there. And that's why this is more difficult than it should be. So the last play session where I created the first set of 8 plus some more was plagued with a large amount of not having enough of the resources that were required, and this time I forgot cover sheets. So back to the base. Seems like every trip back I come across something that I missed previous trips. Could just be that I didn't go down this particular path before. But I try to show any kind of loot that I end up picking up. Here I did a little trip through this cave. It's like a passage. It just comes out on the other side of the mountain. Oh, that was the other thing that got missed last time. I did a decent amount of exploring as well, including making it all the way out to the Rocky Desert, exploring some out there, which was fun. And I may as well drop off some excess inventory while I'm here at the base. And look into milestone upgrades. Why not?
Milestone reached. Coal and iron can be combined in the foundry to start steel production. Project part number 2, the versatile framework, can only be created via automation, not at a crafting bench. Delivering these to the
good
space
thing about
elevator is essential if we
unlocking
are going to
steel
complete
is that
phase
it
2 of Project
unlocks
Assembly and save the day.
other things.
Fix
it
it, and
unlocks
humanity is
things
relying
in
on
the
you.
Awesome Shop, and it also unlocks alt recipes for steel. And one of them that I happen to catch. Alright, it's not yet. Later in the episode, you'll see which one I happen to pick up. See, here's another one. There's so many different paths between the grassy fields and the coast. And I'm going to realize here in a second that my truck is still close enough, my tractor is still close enough to trigger the hatcher. So I'm going to have to move the tractor before I can take it out stealthily. But and that's something I didn't really realize was a thing either. That an unoccupied tractor vehicle will still trigger the wildlife, at least in this case. Now that the beastie is dead, I'll just go park the tractor a little bit away outside of the hatcher's range. Ouch. The flying crabs have a little longer range than the hatcher itself. Note that there is no voice message. So the game crashed, and that's not really all that unexpected and experimental. It really is a rare thing for Satisfactory to crash, but we're going to have to do that little encounter again, fortunately. We are right it must have auto-saved just before that encounter, because we were right there.
Follow the base to the altar and chant. data. Organs and veins are grown, and bones are dug into our walls. The temple gift is being desecrated. Our notes are sour still. Harmony follows many star journeys.
Patterns are starting to emerge in vocabulary, sentence structure, topics. How fascinating to once again solve a true mystery, to be unable to create any accurate predictions.
So it's very odd that when I reloaded, and we literally only went back a few seconds in time, it was the exact same encounter, the exact same area where it crashed is where we loaded in. And this time there was a voice message. So to me that says that, well, either something to do with the voice message not loading was the cause of the crash, or the chance of the voice messages is somewhat random. I mean, I assume that they would just appear after a certain number of Mercer Streeters and Summer Sloops have been found. That seemed to be the way they worked, but maybe that's not the case. And that was the ma'am chime, by the way. Replacing the last couple of generators, and hopefully soon we'll be hooked up and have our full 16 generators running. Once again, placing these pipes in the spot that I'd like to have them, and making them look the way I want is very time consuming. It's crazy. Yes, I'm placing a one long pipe, and I will go back and change it into smaller segments. If you don't understand why you should redo your pipes, relay your pipes after placing a junction on the pipe, go watch the video by Bits. He explains it very well. Basically, you're making the pipe longer than it should be by placing a junction on a pipe, unless you delete and recreate the pipes afterwards. And here's a combat interlude. Some respawn monsters decide to drop in on the party, and then they run away underneath my plant. So normally I don't always redo the pipes if I place junctions on the pipes like that, but for power, it just seems like a wise thing to do. You don't want to have an extra pipe or anything that might cause trouble when you're relying on it for power. I always try to fill machines from above. It just helps with the slurping effect and the sloshing effect. And also, I'm shutting off the generators to allow the machines and pipes to fill completely. Watch this pipe as I dismantle it. You can see that the pipe extends well into the junction. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about here. The pipe should only go to the edge of the junction, and instead it's all where it should be. You can see each time the pipe goes halfway through the junction instead of stopping. There it is again. And that's the kind of thing. It might not matter, but why take the chance, especially on something essential like power? I'll link to the video by bits in the description in case you aren't quite comprehending. I know I didn't understand it at first, or I didn't understand why it was important at first. I understood everything he said about the pipes being too long, but I didn't understand why it was a big deal until I really thought about it for a while. I have to place the disclaimer, however, that I do not agree with Bits on his insistence that pumps must be placed on the horizontal pipe before it goes vertical. I think it's wasting existing head lift. Certainly it is the safe way to go, but it's just not, it's not necessary. And with the generator shut off, it really doesn't take that long to completely fill the machines and pipes with water, and same with the coal. The coal has been moving constantly, and there's plenty of it, so these machines should now be working. Just doing a little more collecting in the immediate area. There's a Mercer sphere up here and a couple of power slugs, I think, that I'm going after. Seriously, folks, the ladder, it's cheat mode when it comes to collecting loot and hidden things across the map. I'm not sure why it's so difficult to get up this thing when I did it twice before, but It's definitely not working for me at the moment. And let's check on our doggo. Reinforced plates? Not bad, but not really needed either. Finally checking that man. There it is. Iron pipe. I don't have a steel setup yet, but I have a lot of research I can do with pipes, that requires pipes at least. And I have an iron factory that's doing a lot of sitting idle, at least some of it is. So let's see what I can do with that. Pick up a bunch of quick wire on our way home. We can fill the back of the truck with the tractor with that material and see what we can do with it back at the base. And we're back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the end splitter in each manifold with a smart splitter and run any overflow, that is anything that's not being used by the machines in that manifold, out a different belt and into another machine. That machine doesn't fit really well right there, so I'm going to raise it up. And it turns out you actually have to select the recipe before you can use it in a machine. hindsight, I don't really know why I left this in here. You all have seen me build constructors before with splitters and mergers. This is no different. I do end up adding more smart splitters to the other 2 iron lines. And it makes a decent amount of pipes. Not as many as I would eventually need, but enough to get a little research done. I really wanted to place this pipe storage over by my other storage area. I just couldn't find a good way to fit it in there. There's too many belts going that way already, and it was just, this is temporary until I get a real steel setup, so it just made more sense to kind of put it in a temporary place. Not really in the way, but not really conducive to a permanent solution either. And we do have pipes flowing. Nice, considering we haven't even created our first steel ingot yet. We have a decent supply of steel, parentheses, iron, pipes. And what's one of the uses of steel pipes? Answer being explosives. We have a coal node and a sulfur node right next to our base. Let's try to make some black powder and see if we can't get Nobelisks unlocked. You all have seen me build the miners around, so watch my fancy transitions. And there's another one coming up for coal. Here comes fancy transition number 2. I'll be honest, I think I like the first one better. I think I might do some compacted coal here as well. What I can do is set up a smart splitter after the output and just direct the correct materials to the correct storage bin depending on which recipe is being created. Rather than the other option is I could just make another assembler. I certainly have enough coal and sulfur to do that. We'll see. I don't know which way I'll decide to go. Seriously, the amount of coal and sulfur needed to run one black powder assembler is just minuscule. Time to pet the doggos. Quick wire. And aluminum casing. That's useful. And we have black powder being produced. You love to see it. Back to the man. Let's check on a hard drive. Steel rotor. That's one of my favorites. It is one of the three that eliminates screws. So, gotta love to see that one come up. Time to unlock the Nobelisks. We just need to go get the black powder.
Detonator and basic Nobelisk unlocked. Most obstacles can be cleared with the basic Nobelisk. It is most effective against organic material and is able to destroy small boulders and porous rock. Deployed Nobelisks will stick to the first solid surface they touch and queue on the universal detonator. If you do not recall the order in which you deployed the Nobelisks, remember Fix-It does not take responsibility for any harm caused due to human error, even if those errors are genetic.
So let's see what else we can unlock.
Tool belt expanded. I compounded sulfur's tristatic atom matrix into a quadrimensional gate vortex. You can now carry more stuff.
Just have to craft that scanner, and we will have everything we need for the detonator. Ta-da! We have the detonator. Let's make a few Nobelisks, whatever we can afford, and we will test it out. I know it's stupid, but there's a couple of rocks on this ramp that are bothered me for a while, and I just want to get rid of them. Just like that. There's another one. Perfect. So having a small production of steel/iron pipes, the question remains, do we have the ability to get to dimensional depot scale? I guess we can wait and see. Also, we're going to shift that quick wire over into a temporary storage container. I'm also going to grab all my alien remains for later processing. We can certainly unlock fluctuators, if nothing else. Here is the part where I add more iron pipe production by siphoning off the excess iron from the other two iron lines. I'm trying to run this belt to somewhere, and I realize I really need a merger here first. And we have enough to unlock SAM fluctuators.
SAM fluctuator recipe unlocked. The fluctuator can mimic unique communication through patterns of electric frequencies to instruct reanimated SAM to perform specific tasks or give specific restrictions, such as matter to energy conversion. It can also function as matter memory, reading the exact composition and state of a collection of matter in one location, breaking it down, and near instantly reconstructing it in another location, which has incredible potential for smart storage.
Your thread shifts solid to fluid to a tapestry. Matter and mind and melody.
Sometime later. Who would have guessed it was wire that I would be short on? And at this point I realize I do not have enough iron flowing to support 2 constructors, so I go down to 1, and all of a sudden the iron starts going a lot faster. Gotta get that last iron line hooked up to the iron pipe overflow. So let's try to get enough fluctuators yet again. Unlocking dimensional depots. What a way to end this episode.
Dimensional depot unlocked. SAM can be utilized to deconstruct matter down to its chemical elements in one dimension, and the Mercer sphere allows it to be transferred and stored in another. Once parts are fed into the dimensional depot, they can be accessed by the Pioneer inventory and build gun system at any time, anywhere.
We see through the window. It is pathetic. Consume more blood.
Well, that's as good a place as any to end this episode. We will hopefully get to use some dimensional depots next time. Spoiler alert, I've already recorded that footage, and we do. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.